It's been a little while since you got some decent fresh air and exercise, so you decided, hey, why not put on my running shoes and go for a hike on a nearby forest trail? But on this very specific occasion, some light exercise is about to be extremely bad for your health, as you've just wandered into one of the hunting grounds of Siren Head, a 40-foot-tall monster from the demented mind of horror king Trevor Henderson. Before you can even figure out what's going on, you're hearing random words and numbers being screamed at you over a crackly old intercom. You look over your shoulder and see it approach, a huge, gangling figure emerging from the trees, arms outstretched to grab you. That's right, Siren Head is coming for you, and he means business. Are you gonna end up like countless others, spirited away to an unknown but surely horrible fate? Will the details of your disappearance be playing out in Siren Head's Siren Head as he stalks his next victim? Not if we have anything to say about it. The chips may be down for you, but listen up. We're about to figure out how to go toe-to-toe with this mythical internet monster, and you versus Siren Head, how to defeat and survive him. Pay close attention. If ever this monster catches you with your pants down, remembering this video might just save your life. But first, you know the drill. It's a truth universally acknowledged in the art of combat that you can't defeat what you don't understand. What exactly is Siren Head? What makes this creature so dangerous? What are its combat capabilities? And does it have any apparent weaknesses? According to the wider Trevor Henderson mythos, Siren Head is the physical expression of a more cosmic being interacting with our universe. As mentioned before, he's 40 feet tall with incredibly long yet powerful limbs. His body appears to be withered or rotted flesh. As the name suggests, the creature's head is in fact a functioning siren with 2 siren horns. In each horn, the creature has working jaws and teeth, though he apparently doesn't need to eat in order to survive, so you won't be starving this thing to death anytime soon. While it's unknown whether Siren Head has any higher level intelligence or abstract reasoning like human beings and some of the other entities we've fought on this show, like Pennywise the Dancing Clown and the Predator, the creature undeniably has a killer instinct. It knows how to isolate its prey in remote locations, camouflage itself as trees, telephone poles, and street lamps, and effortlessly swoop in for the kill. While hearing this might be sending shivers down your spine already, don't fret. This is actually a good thing. Allow us to explain. Like most real-life predators out in the wild, Siren Head follows certain tried-and-true behavioral patterns in order to capture its prey. This not only makes the creature predictable and gives you certain solid do's and don'ts if you want to avoid an encounter altogether, by analyzing the predatory patterns of Siren Head, you can gather valuable information about some of its strengths and weaknesses. For starters, let's take a look at the creature's natural habitat and hunting grounds. According to official lore, Siren Head avoids population centers, instead prowling around remote areas or, on some occasions, quiet rural areas. On occasion, Siren Head has appeared in more urban areas, such as behind isolated motels, but the consistent factor is that Siren Head avoids engagements with large groups of people at all costs. The greatest number of recorded people Siren Head has been able to engage with at once has been a family of 4 who disappeared from their suburban home. But considering 2 of those 4 were children, the point still stands. Siren Head is an ambush predator, not the kind of combatant comfortable with taking on a large group of adults. It's even been known to spend long periods of time utterly motionless between attacks, blending in with its surroundings. We can learn 2 extremely valuable things from this. First, you can potentially avoid a Siren Head encounter altogether if you stick to densely populated areas. Second, if Siren Head is hesitant to engage with large groups, it does imply that the creature is vulnerable to being defeated or even killed if enough people with enough firepower back it into a proverbial corner. While it may be the physical expression of a more powerful cosmic being, that physical vessel can still presumably be destroyed if you're smart and/or lucky enough. But let's get back to what intel we have on this mysterious being. We now know that Siren Head is an ambush predator that isolates its prey before moving in for the kill. What does Siren Head have in the way of actual combat abilities? While this may not seem possible for a being of uncertain higher intelligence, Siren Head is a master of psychological warfare. It has certain traits and abilities that can induce such a state of terror that victims may be tempted to throw in the towel before it even gets within grabbing range. The creature's immense height and its zombie-like rotten skin makes it extremely frightening at first glance, and its grotesque Siren Head is enough to make anyone freeze up. And that hesitation can be deadly, as Siren Head is known to move at startling speeds. If you let your guard down for even a few seconds, it'll probably be the death of you. But it's more than just the look of Siren Head that drives its victims into states of mortal panic. This beast has a terrifying mastery over sound. Not only does it speak in creepy, gargled snippets of music, numbers, and recorded dialogue out of its two sirens, it also plays the disappearance reports of its previous victims, heightening the sense of doom that surrounds the creature. But it's not just the psychological advantage either. Trevor Henderson has stated that Siren Head is capable of manipulating any device that can play audio, from car radios to cell phones. Not only is this terrifying, it can also effectively prevent you from calling for help in your hour of need. Without backup already on the way, Siren Head can stalk, isolate, and attack you when you're most vulnerable. This is one of the things that makes the creature so deadly. It never engages in a fair fight. It waits until you're most vulnerable and alone. Whether you're hiking in the forest or just walking home from work down a quiet suburban street, then it strikes with overwhelming force, ending things before they've even really begun. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but if Siren Head has caught you while you're alone, unarmed, and not expecting an attack, then there's probably nothing you can do to save yourself. Though if it's any consolation, you'll at least find out what happens to all the other people who disappeared before it happens to you too. In other words, there are only two ways to come out on top when it comes to Siren Head. Either stick to a densely populated urban area and avoid the conflict altogether, or arm yourself and take the fight to him. Seeing as humans actually looking for Siren Head would probably surprise even the creature itself. That's right, the time for cowering and fear is over. We're gonna teach you how to go Siren Head hunting. Firstly, you're gonna need to find some like-minded individuals with nerves of steel. As we've already discussed, Siren Head will avoid a group engagement whenever possible, so pulling together a competent hunting party of at least 10 people will be your first priority. How you do this is up to you. Whether it's putting up a flyer outside your local biker bar or posting a Monster Hunter's Wanted ad on Craigslist, as long as you can find some tough, motivated individuals willing to follow you into a nightmare, you're good to go. Next, equipment and weaponry. Seeing as nobody has ever engaged in active combat with Siren Head, we can't know for certain what its physical vulnerabilities are. So it's better to be safe than sorry, but first, let's quickly discuss what you shouldn't bring. Rifles and machine guns are a no-no. Siren Head has the unfortunate combination of being rail-thin and lightning fast, and as a result, you're unlikely to land a shot on this thing unless you have John Wick-level marksmanship skills. And let's be honest here, folks, none of us do. And with a machine gun, you're also unlikely to hit the beast, as well as probably scare it into hiding with the noise of sustained gunfire. Unless you plan on going full Joker and burning the forest down with Siren Head inside, which by the way we don't recommend, leave the machine guns and Molotov cocktails at home. In terms of firearms, we'd recommend arming your party with some sturdy, reliable pump-action shotguns with a nice wide spread. Considering Siren Head is likely to be unseen until it strikes, you'll want a defensive firearm where accuracy doesn't matter quite as much. If the entity does attack and you're lucky enough to land a shot at center mass, even if it doesn't kill it, it'll likely reduce its speed and combat effectiveness. A battle with Siren Head is less likely to be a straightforward one-on-one confrontation and more like a tense and deadly game of cat and mouse. If possible, you'll want to equip yourself and your team with body armor, with durable stab vests probably being your best option. We don't exactly know how Siren Head kills its victims, but it's unlikely that it's with a well-concealed Glock 40, so ballistic armor wouldn't do you much good. Taking a leaf out of Silent Hill's book, equipping each party member with a radio is also a good idea. And we're not even talking about communication here. We already know that Siren Head has the ability to disrupt any kind of audio technology, but while this seems like a strength, it can also be exploited as a weakness. Strange audio disruption can be used to track the beast, and the more messed up the transmission becomes, the closer you are to your target. To find where Siren Head is currently located, your best bet will be using records of local disappearances to triangulate the general position of his whereabouts. He's been known to lurk in forests, abandoned graveyards, mountainous regions, and occasionally suburban neighborhoods with street lamps. Focusing your attention on streaks of disappearances in these areas will probably be your best bet at setting up a Siren Head encounter. Finally, battle tactics. What actions will you need to perform in order to make sure this encounter goes your way? We recommend designating one member of your Siren Head hunting party as bait and sending them out at around 30 to 50 feet in front of you, mimicking the kind of isolated prey that Siren Head typically goes for. The rest of you will want to maintain stealth to ensure that the entity doesn't realize it's being led into a trap. If it realizes what you're doing before you have a chance to spring your trap, then at best it won't show, and at worst, you and your party are in real trouble. If you have time, utilizing booby traps like bear traps and pits could also potentially increase your chances. Siren Head is an agile creature, but if one of its feet happen to end up in a bear trap, that'll almost certainly slow it down a little. Like almost any combat engagement, the decisive moments of battle will likely only boil down to a few key moments when everything unfolds. If Siren Head does indeed attempt to take the bait or gets caught in one of your traps, you and your hunting team can't hold anything back. Once the creature's in your sights, it's time to blow it to smithereens. If your team all train their shotguns on the creature and give it hell, then chances are it won't come out feeling swell. Even if you only manage to wound the creature and it retreats, you can turn the tables and give chase as the predator becomes the prey. If you're relentless enough, you may even be able to chase this creature down and finish it off once and for all, and forever rid the world of the horror of Siren Head. And all it took was a little planning, teamwork, and firepower to finally win the day. It's just a real shame that even without Siren Head, the horrifying monster mythos of Trevor Henderson has plenty more nightmarish entities that can still make you disappear, but that's a problem for another video. Check out the rest of our You vs. playlist for more advice on combating some of fiction's scariest beasts and bad guys, from Pennywise to Michael Myers.